Hey, good afternoon, guys. It's Monday. Boy, oh boy, is it Monday. I have had one of those Monday days where if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. Starting with, had to go rescue my daughter today from her battery was dead, and then I came home and was going to get ready to do my video, and I spilled a container of water all over everything, all the die cuts that I had just made for the video. And then I tried to start the camera 3 times, and it was the battery was dead. So here we are. This is coming to you late today because of all of these things, but we persevered. So anybody that has watched my videos for a while knows that I really like to play around with die cuts, and I like to use them in different ways, and I like to go back and get the ones that I've used before and use them in different ways. And I have a dirty craft mat because I've been playing around waiting for my battery to get recharged. So anyway, let me show you some of the papers that I've used today. Let's see if I can find those again. Okay. So I used a variety of papers. I used some glassine, which is kind of like a brown wax paper. I've used the Crackle Nostalgic Collection, that. And I have used a lot of the Shattered Collection, Crackle Shattered Collection. This is pretty cool stuff. I used a little bit of Mirrored. And I used a little bit of the Christmas Memories Craft stash. And I used a little bit of the Holidays Past craft stash. Okay, so I just wanted to play around. You know, a lot of us make our own cards and things, and start out with a cardstock, and I put a little bit of ink around it. And so I thought we would just play with die cuts on how to make some cards. Let me get this creased well. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to start out with, well, first, before I show you this card, let me show you what I did with the cameo and the stamp frame. That's what I cut the Mirrored with. There's the cameo, and there's the postage stamp frame. And you know, with the postage stamp frame, you can take that center out and just use, you know, the border also. But I left it together for what I was going to do today. So those are those 2 die cuts. Those 2 dies. Okay, make some room to pile some stuff next to me. Okay, so one of the dies that I got out to use today was the pine tree. And what I did with my pine tree, I cut it out of a dark green Shattered and a little bit of brown Shattered for the trunk, and then I put Crackle accents over it. I'm kind of into Crackle today because this is a fractured day for me. So I put the clear Crackle all over it, and then I put I always leave my price tags and things on. Anyway, I used the Picket Fence Distress Crackle paint on it for snow, and oh, I really like that. I just piled it really thickly, and I got tired of waiting on it to dry, so I used my heat gun on it, and it cracked really big and really nice, and this turned out really cool, and I really like it. So there's that die. So we've got that to play with. And let's see, I cut out the Wreath die, which is last year's. Let me find it. Okay, it's the Holiday Wreath. And what I think is cool about this is that it has some of the leaves cut out so that you can lift them up and bend them over and give that some dimension. And then on the bow, it also has a slit on each loop so that you can give it some dimension too. You just kind of separate that. And I cut this out of dark green Shattered and some red Shattered. I'm not really sure which colors they are in the distress paint. I'm thinking maybe this is Pine Needles, I'm not sure, and this is probably Barn Door, but I'm not sure. So okay, and I didn't do any crackling or anything to that, I just left it as it is. Then let's see, I cut out, I used my glassine to cut out the Pinecone, the tattered Pinecone die. And as we know, this can be a rose or it can be a Pinecone, because all you have to do is just pull your center out to make it a Pinecone, right? That's how that works. Okay, and then this glassine stuff is so cool because it makes its own crackle. So I'm just gonna kind of mess the little sprigs up, and they crackle all on their own, which is way cool. So I'm doing that. And I thought I would show you just real quick how to make this Pinecone die. Here's the Pinecone or the rose, and what you're going to do is you're going to start out with the outside edge, and when you're just beginning this, you might want to use a toothpick, or maybe well, here's a chopstick, but you can do it without it after you get practice at it. And you just start rolling it up from that outer end. Just keep rolling all the way around, and you want to try and keep it not from going all the way down your stick or whatever you're using. And if you're just using your fingers, I apologize for my fingers. I have some eczema and my fingers have been in a lot of water lately. I've been painting, and so they're kind of dry and cracked, so I apologize for the condition of my fingers. It hurts a little, but they're still functional. So then when we get to the end, I'm going to pull that off of your stick, and I've got some Tombow multi-glue right here, so I'm just going to glue that bottom right there, and then you want to hold it till that glue sets. And then if you want it to be a rose, then you just start bending out your petals right there, and it can be a rose. But if you want it to be a Pinecone, then all you have to do is grab that center and pull it out, and you have a Pinecone. Isn't that cool? So let's see if I can set this down for a minute, long enough for it to hold. See if I can kind of put a little clamp on there so it can hold while the glue sets up. Okay, so got some Pinecones to play with. Let's see. I cut out the packages. I showed you that last week. The package die. Cut those out, and that's what I used the Christmas past stash on, because this looks like a whole bunch of old Christmas wrapping, on the packages. So I cut those out of that, so you got that to play with. And then I also cut this same die out of the craft stash, the craft paper, embossed craft paper, Christmas memories. And I was experimenting a little bit. In this, I put the picket fence distress paint on, and then I put a little bit of ice spruce on over it, and I didn't really care for that, but maybe somebody does. And this has got evergreen bough over top of it, and this one has antique linen. So you can play with those a little bit, or you can leave them natural. This has Vinny's photo on it, but I was using a pad that has worn lipstick on it, so it kind of came out a little bit red. So there's that. And then here's the this strip die, and it's Festive Greenery. And I have to confess, I don't use this very often because it's a little bit too intricate and it's a little hard to get weeded out. But a couple of tips is only run it through once, don't run it through twice, because if you try to run it through twice, then you get, it just doesn't, even if you don't move it, it doesn't go back through the exact same spot, and so then you get little pieces that fall off. But when you're doing the weeding, I found out that if you take your craft pick, which I've got sitting here somewhere, I used to have sitting here somewhere. Anyway, when you're doing your weeding and you take your pick and push it through, you want to push through from the back side. It works better because on the front side it's already cut through. It's the back side that's hanging up. So if you turn it over and push from the back, you can see it better, but also you push through the front, which part is already cut. So that's a hint for dealing with those dies. So there's all of that. And let's see, then I have another die here, and this is a couple years old. This one is the holly branch, and I put some Crackle. I used the shattered cardstock, but I put some Crackle on it, and so I've let it dry. This was the Crackle accents that I used, and I'm just going to kind of push and mess around with them, make some little cracks. That. And this one I didn't do yet, so I just wanted to show you that really all I did was just push it out of the bottle and just spread it out with my finger and let it dry. And that's all I did. And I just flipped it over upside down. That's how my day is going. Let me clean this off of here. So, and then I even did it to the berries. So I want to take this vintage photo and kind of go around my edges here and over top of this Crackle with my ink. I think you could do this with stain if you wanted to. Wouldn't use the paints because the paints are opaque, and you want to be able to see through it. So with that, and then I'm going to take a little paper towel and I'm going to push some of it off, and then the part that stayed down in the cracks stays there, so it shows the cracks up even better. And that looks kind of cool. So I've got iced spruce out. Let's see what that does. Let's see if that gives it a good look, or if we should just stick with brown. Well, that looks kind of good. It's a different. It's really different. So let's wipe off. And you can again see the patterns of Crackle. Boy, I can't pick it up. And you see the difference. And so it's nice to have a variety. So this one is greener and this one is browner. They're both out of the same piece of shattered cardstock, but you can get two different looks with two different inks. And so that's cool. So with this one, I would just use like walnut stain or distressed gathered twigs, something like that, but I have vintage photo out, so that's what I'll use. Trying to be careful not to knock my camera down. I've already done that too. That's what caused me to spill the container of water all over my die cuts earlier. So then you can, well, that one's not dry yet, but you can make a nice little vignette with this die and use that on cards and things. Okay, I'm going to push that out of the way, and let's see, I think that's dry enough now to set over here. And then another one is the new wall clock die. And I cut that one. Let's move it out of the way. I cut that one out of this dark brown shattered. I took the center, which I cut out of a different color shattered, and I put the Crackle accents on it. So I want to go ahead and maybe crack it up a little bit, break that surface, and then put some vintage photo on it. So that looks all nice and weathered. I'm going to put that back in there, and here's the hands, and we have this part that hangs down. So we've got that we can play with cards. And I have one more to show you. It's another strip die, and this is from last year also. And it is the Snowflake Rosette. And you cut one of these and two of these. And I don't have my glue gun out, but glue gun is a really perfect way to do this. You want to do a fan fold. Don't worry about getting this part folded. You just want to fold the accordion part down here. One trick for these is that if you have trouble with your die cut machine cutting too well, and you have a problem with the perforations separating, is put a strip of washi tape on the back of your die, and that stops these perforations from breaking. And I didn't do that before I picked this up. I wish I had, but I'm doing okay so far. I've only got a couple of separations. But the best way to do this, once you have it already folded, is to take your glue gun and put some hot glue right here, and that keeps that edge together. I'm going to do it with the Tombow, but it's not going to have the same effect as the glue gun would. But it is better than not doing it at all. So I'm going to spread that out, and then you take it to your mat and you bring it around, and you want to put your glue on the edge. Just not having a good day today, am I? Everything's fighting me. So you bring these edges together, you pinch them together, and again, if you have your hot glue gun, then that happens instantly and you don't have to wait for the glue to set, so you don't fight it as much. Oh my gosh, my tweezers are also missing today, so I can't even use those. Okay, so then you put your glue on the back of your centerpiece. You set it right there in the middle and push, and that again, it even holds it together even better. And we'll do it on this piece as well, on the bottom piece. Then, something that I love to do with these is I like to take some glue. Sometimes use some spray adhesive, but other times I just kind of put the glue on there and spread it with my finger, so you get a little bit more randomness. But pushing some glue out on these spikes, and that again is supposed to stick together there and isn't. So let me put it back down, and then You can take your distress glitter, or you can take diamond dust, which is my favorite. It's not going to stay together. Just not going to stay together, and it's not going to let it's not going to let me lift my fingers either. So, and then you just want to sprinkle some diamond dust on top of there, and you have a really cool snowflake. Next time I'll get my glue gun out before I try to show you this. Now, diamond dust is actual cut glass, so you do want to be careful with it. Now I've got it on my fingers, but I'm going to hurry up and wipe it off carefully. It can cut, so when you're cleaning it up, you want to be careful as well. And you know, a lot of times I just brush glitter off on my craft room floor, my art room floor, but this stuff I go ahead and put in the trash. So, you know, hopefully that will dry, and I can show you a little bit better specimen of it. But yeah, that's the way this Monday is going. Okay, so now I have really goopy hands. Let me clean them off. Keep a bottle of hand sanitizer. My gosh. To instantly clean my hands. Okay, diamond dust everywhere. You usually want to do that diamond dust in a closed container. Okay, so I have one more to show you, and that is let's see, did I even show you these? I don't think so. This is the pediment and the window and box frame, and I played with these a little bit, and I lost my pediment. There it is. Okay. And I put the Crackle accents on here on this pediment. It's a little bit chopped up because I tried to cut too many from one piece. And when that dried, I crackled it a little bit, and then I put some vintage photo ink over it, and that accentuates those shattered cracks. And this one, I only have the Crackle accents on it, so we'll go ahead and put ink on that. And I have some dimensionals already on the back of this, and that's why I'm having a little bit of trouble getting ink on it. Okay. And then I'm going to wipe it back just a little bit. So now we have a very old looking crackled door frame, which looks pretty cool. And you can put that pediment on the top and have an even more, and you can have an ornate door frame like that, or you can use this one.